We want to start buying some properties out here.
What areas are good to buy?
So we're having the constant struggle. She wants to buy in the building that we're living in because it's a beautiful building. And
Yeah.
yes, it's a great spot down the line to rent out. And I want to buy a multifamily.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you need to
Yeah,
talk her into that multifamily. That's a way better strategy.
of course. So I'm trying to convince her to go into the multifamily, do something off Gaiocho that's somewhat close to the Brickell area,
Hmm?
because Gaiocho is turning around very quickly right now.
Come on, man.
And it's only a matter of years or months, so to speak, before Gaiocho and Brickell meet. So and it's all nice. So trying to get in there. But obviously, like up in Surfside and those older buildings too, if you can find a good one,
Yeah.
would be a good potential buy too. Or there's some older, 4 families up there as well that we're kind of looking at. But ultimately, we want to move to the Keys. We love the Keys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like our little paradise down there, somewhere in Largo. I'd love to have a condo in the city of Miami and then a house down in the Keys.
You will.
Yep.
You just got to put the blinders on and just keep going forward, man.
Exactly. One step at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you some of the key indicators that people are looking for when looking for a place to live in Florida. One of the things that people search the most is, what cities are the best for different reasons. So let's cover some of the most popular reasons. How would you grade Miami as far as a place for safety? How's crime? Is it more local or is it just a problem everywhere?
So it's definitely more local. Believe it or not, I live in the downtown, heart of downtown area, and the crime is pretty low. Yes, there are your homeless people on the street corner here and there, but of course, that's the city. Coming from Manhattan, it's no different.
Yeah.
As far as your actual crime, I haven't seen anything like that around here. There's constant police presence. You walk through the park at night, there's bright lights through the park. Maybe there's a few stragglers drinking or something in the park, but nothing crazy. And there's multiple police presence. So I think that if there is crime going on, it's more sectionalized or localized into specific areas or neighborhoods, and not necessarily where we live. The Brickell area along the bayfront seems to be, for the most part, pretty safe. Are there the occasional muggings or violent crime? I'm sure, yes.
Yeah. In any big city.
Exactly. Of course, you're going to have bike thefts and car thefts here and there, but nothing out of the normal. And coming from New York City, I haven't seen anything that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm pretty normalized to all of this stuff. There is, nothing as far as, the crime that goes on in South Beach over on this side of Miami. South Beach and downtown Miami are 2 different beasts. South Beach is more of your vacation land. Everyone goes there and they think that no rules apply.
Yeah.
So, of course, there are different situations that, that type of behavior entices more violent crime or more types of crime. Over here on the mainland side or Miami side, where the actual Miami people tend to reside, is a lot safer.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. So there are the tale of 2 cities, right? I mean, you've got you got your vacationers who, for lack of a better term, they come down there and they get drunk and they just cause havoc. And meanwhile, you got the people who are trying to get to bed early and wake up early, go running, and live a healthy lifestyle on the other side of the bridge. And that's what you're seeing.
Exactly. If you wake up at 5:30 in the morning on South Beach, there's people coming home from their night. If you wake up at 5:30 in the morning on my side in downtown Miami, Brickell, there's people running, jogging, bike riding, paddle boarding, working out outside. Of course, you'll see a few things of that in South Beach, maybe more North Beach, but not necessarily as much as physical activity going on early morning here.
Yeah,
and it's motivating, to be honest. You're walking the dog, you're like, let's go for a longer walk today.
Yeah.
Before you know it, I'm walking 2 miles, and yes, it's a walk, but hey, I'm getting 2 miles in the morning. It's physical activity. I'm way more active down here by far. And my girlfriend and I used to sleep in till 8:30, 9 o'clock. We didn't have to get up for work. up in New York City, because there's no rush to get up. It's cold. There's not much to go on to do. Up here, we're up at 5:36 every day, and we beat our alarm clocks because we're excited for the day. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be sunny. There's people outside, working out or doing things early in the morning. So it's a very different culture from Manhattan.
Okay. Now, tell me about schools, because that's the next thing that I'm sure a lot of people are looking for. Is like, I know you don't have any kids in some school systems right now, but I'm sure that's a question and concern for a lot of your clients. Is Miami known for having a good public school system, or is it kind of more case by case?
So obviously it's case by case. There are definitely better schools within the district than others. There are some private options and charter school options as well. The two major schools that I notice a lot of people that are focused on education tend to head to Broward County. There's two very, very well-known public schools or private schools, excuse me, up there that if people do have the money, they tend to go there. There's also another one down in Pinecrest. So there's multiple options for education down here. Obviously, it's a big city, so you're going to have any city issues that you have typically in an educational system. But if you go outside of that specific downtown metropolitan area, you can find some better school systems. Coral Gables, Pinecrest, which is all falling under Miami-Dade County. Very, very great schools.
Yeah, I heard Key Biscayne has an amazing.
Absolutely.
Okay. Tell me about entertainment. Miami is known for being a hub for basically conventions and anything to do with any possible interest that people have. Is it a little overkill, or do you think it's a great location for someone who likes to live an active lifestyle?
I definitely think it's a great location. Some people do think it's overkill, but you can't let that overwhelm yourself. Miami is a city. I mean, you can let the same thing happen to yourself in Manhattan. There's always something going on. You find what you're interested in and you kind of stick with that hub, so to speak. And it's really great that there's other outside activities coming in because you get to experience things that you never would have. We saw a polo match on the beach in North Beach one day. Never in my life did I think I would see that. And that's not something that I would say, hey, honey, let's go look for a polo match. But just because there's so many different activities and Miami is such a hot spot and a hub for that type of stuff, it's wonderful. A few weeks ago, I'm sure you're well aware, there was a Bitcoin conference.
Yeah.
Just bringing people from all over the country and if not world down to Miami. You have different exposure. So you can go out to a restaurant and meet someone that you've never seen before from a total different country who is here for an event for 2 days. And, if that event wasn't happening in your city, you would have never had that opportunity to meet people. So if you look at it that way and, don't get overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, I want to go to this, and this, you'll end up broke, tired, and, not probably going to work on Monday. But there's so much going on that you really can find your passions and kind of run with them here because there's always something to do. There's always something different to do. For example, there's a new place you bring your own wine and you make your own candles in Wynwood. I've never heard of that concept before. Would I ever want to go make my own candles? No, I usually just go to the store and buy them. But hey, it's a brand new concept. It popped in. You never know who I'm going to meet there, meet the owners. That type of stuff is interesting to me. It has that city culture, which is great. You can go to, 3 blocks over and be in a whole different cultural zone. For example, Wynwood, you can go over to Alapata, go down to little Havana. And each little pocket has something different for everybody. And it's wonderful. You never get bored here, which is great. But you could also just mentally check out and go down to the pool. So that's the wonderful aspect of Miami. You can live the life where, you sit by the pool, you do your work, and you don't go out, and it's wonderful, very active, or you can go out all day, every day, and have, endless amount of activities to do. So it really feeds everyone's passions, which is great.
Yeah, I love it. So within your answer, you basically covered one of the other topics that I wanted to bring up, which is culture, because a lot of places you go, it might be beautiful and aesthetic, but there's no diversity, there's no culture. You don't learn anything new outside of your own wheelhouse. And the fact that you mentioned, being open to other interests and cultures from all over the world, that really does speak volumes for the city and where the city is headed. So yeah, that's a really good point that you made.
Absolutely. I grew up in New Jersey, and there's minimal culture there. You know, and when I moved to New York City, I thought that that was, the cultural melting pot. It was great. It was until I moved to Miami where I really got exposed to different cultures. There is more cultures in Miami than any city I've ever lived in, and I've lived around the world and other countries and stuff. It's wonderful. I love it. You could always meet someone from another country. People travel here on a constant basis because it is such a large tourism, city, and it's a great thing. I'm actually off my balcony. I stare at all of the cruise ships over the Biscayne Bay. And
Yeah.
once those things start turning in, we're really going to have people coming in here. So it's really just a city that never stops, and I'm excited to see where it's going. More and more businesses are starting to come down, which is great. Obviously, it's going to bring and increase, more popularity to all of the things that we already love down here. So businesses are going to expand. Home prices hopefully will rise. I think this is really a good time to move to Miami. And we looked at ourselves as we were re-signing our lease, and we both said this was the best decision we could have made March 2019 to get out of New York City and just do it. I don't think I would ever look back and say this was a bad decision, because our life and quality of life has just increased tremendously. You know, my friends call me, "Hey, what are you doing this weekend?" I'm actually on my way to the Keys. That's like once in a lifetime trip for most people, if
Absolutely.
that. And I go on every two
Regular.
weeks. Yeah, it's the opportunities to go out and do things and inexpensive things in this city are endless. You could just get in the car and drive to a state park and pay $9 and make a road trip out of it. $9 in gas, and you have a great day. You park, you have yourself a good day on the beach, have some lunch, and explore a different area. And you can constantly do that. It's a lot more open than New Jersey per se. It's more of a hassle, I think, to travel in New Jersey, even though it's a much smaller state than it is here.
Why not, right? If you got it right there.
Exactly.
All right, good. Now let me ask you this: there is a ton of options as far as real estate goes in Miami, but is Miami, I would say, first-time home buyer friendly? Are the prices out of range for most people, or are they options? Or is there something that meets the needs for everyone?
There's definitely options. In fact, I was actually just watching a video yesterday. A designer, I believe in Coral Gables, um, put up a stage home. It is $185,000. It's a lower income housing option,
Wow.
and they're building them out of recycling shipping containers. So they're, I think, like 500 square foot, but you can purchase that. So yes, there is options for, you know, all ranges here. You could purchase a $50 million mansion, and you could also purchase, $125,000 stage home, or like that.
Yeah.
The condo market is a little unfriendly for first-time homeowners, mainly because the associations require more deposit down. So that is something that most people do not know, that some associations will require at least 25 to 30% down on a deposit. So that eliminates a lot of the first time homeowners with the 3.5% down. Uh, yes, there are some strategic ways around it. It doesn't work for everyone, and it's not guaranteed for every association, but there are some methods that, can be tried, between lending and different strategies. But the condo market is very difficult to get into for first-time homeowners. However, if you happen to go out further west from the core of the city, home prices go down, which is a good thing. You could go out to, say, Cutler Bay and find something a little bit off the water for 400,000, and you're getting a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. So that option is available. Yes, you're still in Miami. No, you're not in downtown Miami. So that is kind of the trick. You probably drive 20 minutes, but it's the same equivalent to living in Jersey City, saving money and commuting into Manhattan, for your downtown. I've noticed after the building collapse in Surfside, there's been a lot of rumors and talk that the condo market and prices will start to come down.
Yeah.
As the HOAs increase. So that's kind of a catch-22 for you. You can get into the unit cheaper. However, you're going to be paying more monthly to live there because the building is going to be needing to do maintenance on it.
Yeah.
So that might be a change in the market that we see. A lot of first-time homeowners or people in my situation who are already living in a building, renting from someone, and try and basically just purchase a place instead of renting in the next few years. Hopefully, that's where the market goes and does loosen up. But you can go anywhere from purchasing, a $200,000 condo with doing renovations, one bedroom, up to $20 million. I think there was one that went for 26 million, penthouse condo. So there's a variety for everybody here, which is nice.
Yeah, that's amazing, brother. So give me a story, a win that you've had for one of your clients who has come down to Miami, and it's a very difficult market right now to buy homes anywhere, but I can imagine Miami is a very competitive market. Can you share with us any wins that you're currently working on or that you might have worked on recently?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had two buyers, a business owner that came over from Colorado. He was launching or expanding his business into the Florida market. He was looking for a property to purchase in Miami for about 6 months. His wife was pregnant when we first started looking, and during that time, she had the baby. So the urgency kind of turned up a little bit. We didn't necessarily find what he was looking for, so I switched gears and found him amazing rental, which was a single family home, pool in the backyard, garage right on the water. He could put a boat there if he wanted, everything you wanted. However, it was a rental. He lived there for 6 months, and we actually started looking for purchase. We were able to find him a purchase below his original budget, which left him a little bit more money to put more money down on his second home purchase. And we're now looking on that second home purchase. We did go out a little bit further outside of the Miami market for the first purchase to save that money. We found a beautiful spot in Coconut Creek, which is in Broward County, about 45 minutes out here, out from Miami. However, he got everything he was looking for $500,000, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and a pool in the backyard in a community. HOA, I think, was $350 per quarter. So
that's amazing.
Yes, slam dunk. And his original budget was about 900 to 1.2. So we saved that extra. He's putting 50 grand into the house that he just bought in Coconut Creek. And we're now looking for, he's going to try and get a mortgage for a second house and just put about 50% down. So his mortgage is now lower, and then put some money in the bank. So, just kind of being strategic and knowing your areas and being able to give good advice and understanding what people are coming to Florida to do. Everyone wants to live in Miami because that's the hot spot to live. But what do you want to do? What is your life about? Do you go to work every day? Do you work from home? Are you a beach person? Are you a boat person? What type of activities do you do? And then I can recommend areas. People want to move to Miami. That's great. Miami's huge. You know what? Tell me 10 things you like to do. What do you do for work? What do you do on the weekends? Do you have kids? But like I said, boat people, beach people, because that dramatically directs where you're going to be living. You don't want to be a beach person and having to drive 45 minutes to the beach. If you just like to go to the pool and a shopping center, or you're a sports fan, there's neighborhoods that we could put you 10 minutes away where you don't have to sit in Miami traffic. And that is the key down here.
Yeah,
avoiding the Miami traffic. There's certain times of the day that I just won't drive. It's faster to walk. Certain days of the week that, it can take me 25 minutes to go 1.5 miles to my buddy's house, where I could just ride a bike in 5 minutes. So That is definitely a downside of the city. They are working on it. I believe Elon Musk and a couple other people are trying to strategically put some transportation, ideas to work here. And they are, I believe the city of Miami is expanding their metro line, which is very similar to the New York City subway line. However, it's free and it's above ground and a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
So that's going to be nice. And that new rail, I believe, goes from downtown Miami over into the beach. So that should eliminate some traffic on the freeways. But, you have to realize there's, I don't know exactly how many people, but millions of people that live here, and everybody likes to do the same things on Saturdays and Sundays. And there's, like you said before, events constantly here. There's sports arenas. I live 5 blocks, excuse me, from where the Heat play. Do you think I'm ever going to recommend anybody drive there when the Heat come? No.
Nope.
Take the train. We can walk from my house. So there's wonderful things about Miami. The weather is kind of one of the other things that you could be sitting at the beach and 10 minutes later it's completely downpouring, and by the time you get to your apartment the sun's out again. You're like, okay.
Yep.
So bipolar weather and extremely high traffic in certain areas is probably the two negative things, but everything else is wonderful.
Yeah, that's great, man. I think everyone that moves to a big city, they're gonna have to expect the traffic aspect. You'll get that in any metropolitan area. But as far as the weather goes, I mean, for some people, that's an upside because coming from cold climate, they love the tropical weather. They love the tropical storms that come in and roll out, refreshes
Yes,
the air. You get that fresh smell in the air of freshly, downpoured rain, and that's amazing for some people who kind of like only experience that on vacation. And you get that, and you
that is
get to
true.
feel that all the time, which is a luxury for a lot of folks and around the world and around the country. So yeah, I think there's more
Absolutely.
upside than downside there. Now we're not going to let you off the hook this easy. We are going to need you to show us your balcony view because you keep mentioning it, but you're not showing us.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I have the best of both worlds. This is the city view. That's downtown Miami right there, Biscayne Boulevard.
Yeah.
And then I have the bay view as well.
Look at that.
So looking over Biscayne Bay, the port of Miami is back there. And if you look on a clear day, you can actually see the ocean through a few of the buildings, which is beautiful. I tell everyone I have an ocean view partially.
Yeah. Now, listen, a lot of the viewers out there are not going to be buying, they're going to be renting. Do you help renters also find locations?
Absolutely. So I currently rent myself. That's actually, my somewhat bread and butter for most of my friends because they're in a similar situation.
Yeah.
So, I help them rent, move down here for the first time, especially if you're in your late 20s, early 30s, and you're moving to Miami or a newer city. I highly recommend you rent for the first year. Figure out what you like, what areas you like, what you like to do while you're here before you go ahead and purchase. If you have a family and you want that more, locked in space and security, 100%, I'll recommend you to some more outskirts of downtown Miami, more family oriented areas.
Yeah.
But there's also some families that are thriving in the Brickell area and starting to take over buildings. And you go to the pool and there's nothing but, babies and kids there, which is great to see as well. So it really has a little bit of everything. But yes, I help out individuals that are looking to rent, that are looking to purchase, first-time homeowners as well. The rental market is very difficult down here because there is such a surge of people. It's very competitive. So you have to make sure that you have your ducks in a row. Make sure that your credit is good. You have your, all of your documentation. One thing that I found that doesn't work is people were getting large stimulus checks and unemployment money throughout the year last year coming from New York City and thinking that they could rent down here and use that as proof of income. That does not work. Also, I do believe it's a little more lenient and easier to find an apartment through a landlord in New York City. There's more, say, for rent by owners and the windows and things like that up there where you can kind of scour your own deals or spaces to live. That doesn't exist down here. The associations and communities are extremely strict. You're not sneaking in a dog. Your service animal is not real service animal.
Yeah.
you know, when it says no pets, that means no pets. You know, Fido is not okay as an emotional support. Um, you know, and that's something I even battled with my building, because renters aren't allowed. I had to get approval from the owner, but like I said, there's ways around it, and you know, strategic ways to approach every situation. And the one thing I've noticed, my friends from New York, they come down here and they're like bulls in china shops, and you can't act like that down here. Everyone's relaxed. There's a strategy and a process for everything, and they're gonna take a week to get back to you at least.
Yeah.
Don't, you know, it's no, well, what happened the next day? That, you know,
Yeah.
relax. Everyone's on Miami time down here. The only time you get people that are going real fast is after they have their cafecito, and then like then they cool down.
They call that
It's
espresso back up north.
exactly. It's very good. One of the places, Versailles in Little Havana, I go to. I have to say, I think I was addicted when I first found it. Chelsea, my girlfriend, she goes, "How many times have you been there in the past 2 weeks?" She goes, I found about 8 receipts. I go, "Yeah, I think I threw 2 of the receipts out too." I was there 10 times in 14 days. Their coffees and their guava pastries are some of the best I've ever had. You know, and you don't get that culture up in New York City. I mean, yeah, you can find a Cuban bakery here and there, but it's not the same. And everyone asks me, "Do you miss your food down there?" No, I don't, because the food's just as good down here. It's just different cultures. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I think we're turning you into a Latino, bro.
I know. I think so. My girlfriend's Puerto Rican and Cuban,
Oh,
and you know
forget it.
that. Yeah, it's a wrap. We're
You've been
going to Puerto
adopted.
Rico in August.
Yeah, you're drinking the
I'm
Kool-Aid for
hooked.
sure. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, man. But one last thing is we have to find out, how can our audience or your audience, I'm sure we're both going to be sharing this content. How can they find you and where can they find you?
Sure. So I'm on Instagram at Slacks Selling SoFlow. I also have a Facebook, and I'm always available on cell phone. So feel free to shoot me a text and email. Is Stephen at theventryteam.com. I actually just joined a team in New Jersey that's going to be expanding down here. So I partnered up with them and going to be launching a whole Miami branch and team as well. So
That's
if you're
exciting.
in South Florida or in New Jersey and interested in speaking as well, happy to help out on either end.
So if somebody wants to start doing real estate or just wants to join a team, maybe they're moving to Florida and South Florida, right there in Miami area, they can call you and start this new venture with you, this new team that you guys are putting together in Miami, correct?
Absolutely. Yes. We're putting together a team of all varieties of real estate agents, as long as you're hungry and willing to work, looking for full timers. And, you know, ultimately we plan on being with the next, you know, big hitters down here, the next Max Goldsteins, you know, taking over a complete area of Golden Beach, or, you know, ultimately we're looking to expand in every area around Miami where, you know, water touches and is, you know, exciting to live, but you know, you have to work your way up there. So you know, feel free to reach out, and happy to speak with anybody. We have training weekly and in fact daily trainings that go on the team, and there's people from all around the nation, EXP, non-EXP, so feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Steve. You've been amazing.
Thank
And
you.
I'm sure our audience who is watching this and considering moving to Miami has gotten a lot of value out of this, because I'll tell you what, I live only 2 hours away from Miami and I've been to Miami more times than I can count. But I learned a lot from the information that you shared with me today, because I'm not in there. I'm not on the streets, on the battleground every day, and I don't learn these new things, especially like after this tragic incident with Surfside. You know, I didn't realize that associations were going to raise their rates, their fees. So all of this only comes from people with experience such as yourself. So if our audience is watching this, please reach out to Steve. I'm sure he'll be a good guide for you to help you transition down into your new life in Miami. And if you're enjoying this video, guys, share it with somebody who may need it, somebody who may be looking to move to Florida or considering Miami as an option. And definitely engage with this if you're watching it on whatever medium, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you're watching it. Make sure to give us a like and drop a comment down below. Let us know how Steve is doing. And if you're proud of Steve, he's only 2 years out of Jersey and he's turned into a Cuban already. Awesome, brother. Thank you. Any last words?
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. Looking forward to seeing the final cut.
Absolutely.
And feel free to reach out. Happy to chat to anybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.